Hello everyone. Welcome to Beyond Injury Time. This is your own football podcast where we will discuss around all the hot topics, match analysis, and obviously we will have very heated debates. Uh, Today we will discuss about the biggest hot topic around the world, that is Saudi. Saudi is spending a lot of money and looks like they are serious about sending a shock wave to the football world. Now, what do you think is the inspiration behind it? What do you believe is why they are doing this?
I think they are going in that direction. I mean, like they want to buy everything that they have found in their hands, and then they want to be one of the top leagues in the world. That is what they are trying to do, I think. I mean, it's not like the China that we saw 2 or 3 years ago, but I think Saudi are serious now. We might see a shift of power in the coming decade. Like now we have Europe, and now maybe in the upcoming 5 to 6 years, maybe Saudi League would be one of the most watched leagues in the world. I think they are going in that direction.
Just to add to Manish, so Saudi 1 year ago was on the 58th ranked league, and even in just 1 year they have become 54th. And based
Okay,
on
nice.
on the signings they are doing right now, I don't think it will take too long for them to come down.
You know, I want to continue on that. Actually, I did not know about the rank, so nice one there. I want to continue on what Manish was saying about Chinese. China, I think when they started their Super League, their idea was that I mean, at least the market that they created was very similar to MLS, where people, basically the players that have already played their in their prime, they're going to go earning the money and all that. And what they probably failed to do is to market it as a league where players can actually go and play. And they obviously tried to create awareness about the Chinese Super League, but I mean, people did not know about it, and people did not care about it. And I think Saudi, what they're trying to do differently here is that they are creating awareness about the league in itself. The signings, like Chinese Super League, they did their signings, but they were not, I think, as high profile as what Saudi is doing. Last year's Cristiano signing was like, I think Cristiano's fans are everywhere. And if Cristiano is going to go somewhere, people are going to know about it. So they're creating awareness about it. And once you get the highest profile player to a league like that creates an environment where maybe young people would want to go there. So if now some players do go to the Saudi Pro League, they won't feel like that they're just going there for the money. Maybe there is a league and there is a whole competition to play. So that's what I think.
Yeah,
That's what they're trying to do.
I'd like to pitch in based on the point you mentioned the Chinese league, right? So, in my opinion, I have a little bit of information as to why the Chinese league actually did not work. What happened is the Chinese also had good amount of money, right? They did not have any scarcity of money there. So there were certain there were certain players like the Hulks and the Oscars. So we all know of, right? That moved to the Chinese league. So what happened is we all know, right? It's a communist government there. So what happened is Xi Jinping, who is the president himself was getting involved in that league. Okay. So when the president gets involved, there are things that happen. So what happens is the amount of money that the Chinese league were offering, the wages as we speak, were huge. People were getting attracted. But the problem there was very soon, Xi Jinping realized that they are actually putting money into the foreigners' hands. And the money was flowing out of China to Europe. So he did not like that. And as we all know,
not like their money to go anywhere, man.
Exactly. We all know by the general phenomenon with China, they are the lenders, not the borrowers. So when they give out money, there has to be purpose. But what was happening in that league was they were giving a lot of money out, but they were not rewarded for that money.
I would like to chip in with regards to Saudi. From my understanding, most of the money that comes to Saudi is by selling crude oil. And if you look at the rates of crude oil and the amount of cuts they're
Oh,
doing,
through the roof. Yeah.
right? And they are still not able to stop the downfall. I just checked out crude; it was around 70 USD something, which is way low. They want to keep it at around 80. And they've
Yeah.
also figured out going into the future, people have started looking into EV and other ways of energy. So
Ah.
what I think is they're trying to have another financial source of income, a financial future, which makes most sense. Now, there's another thing that's important to understand, that the population of demography of Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
70% of the population is below 40 years.
Ah.
And right,
Quite young.
and they're
12%
very
below
much into football. And
Okay.
another thing that's important to recognize is in the Qatar World Cup, they were the most supported team in terms of in terms of that region in particular.
In the Middle
They-
East, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the Middle East.
yeah. So they are trying to do that, and I think they want to do it in a sustainable format. And they have realized that people from their country are watching EPL so much. They're like, instead of them making a business out of it, out of their leisure activity and marketing it, they're like, why not make it in our own country and let us benefit from it financially? Another way of looking at it is a lot of people from the amnesty are saying that, you know what, this is sport washing of the highest quality.
Yeah.
That was what I was coming to.
Yeah.
That this is actually a big bet on sports washing their image that has been there in they are right now in news for all the wrong reasons, which they want to just sports wash it. And this is the best way to do it with the help of football, because whole of the world will be watching them.
Yeah, it's the most watched
Yeah.
game in the world. And there's one more thing, like golf, the PGA, you would have heard of. And
Yes.
the Saudi also had a golf competition. They called it LIV Live. Now the LIV Live and PGA have merged. So
Nice.
now what you say is top golfers playing with each other, and the Saudi is there. And the top matches of boxing are also happening in Saudi. So Saudi are now going towards football. And the reason I say this, they are serious about it, because in China they didn't have that much of infrastructure. Saudi almost qualifies for all the big tournaments, whether it's Asia Cup or World Cup. You would have seen the Qatar World Cup. They beat Argentina. They have a very big, as I said, they have the young population, they have the fan following. So now they are taking the next step. Like how now India is in terms of cricket. We have our own league, IPL, the richest league in the world. So we almost pulled it from everybody. We have the power now. So it's been like since 2008. Saudi is trying to do that. Now everybody wants to watch Champions League.
Yeah,
Everybody
got
wants
to
see
give to
Premier
these
League,
Middle Eastern
Premier
people.
League.
I mean,
But I would
they
add
have
that
the money, but they know where to use it properly.
They have the
Yeah,
brains
they
as
want to
well.
earn
They have the
more.
brains as
Yeah.
well.
you
It's
cannot
not oil anymore.
Yes,
They
yes.
want
Correct.
different ways, as Abhay correctly said. They
Yes.
are aiming for different ways to earn. And football is the biggest sport in the planet. So they are doing it.
So they
They're
are
serious
going
about it.
into entertainment industry with the help of football. But a comparison with IPL is correct, but I think cricket and India is way more tightly coupled than Saudi.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I mean, it's a little bit a different thing. Yeah.
And
I mean,
right now the status is they want to scale the football in their country itself, right? Right now only Riyadh and Jeddah are the places where they get attendance in a football match. They have like 60,000 or plus people watching these games, but on a different all other teams nobody goes to watch. Right, there are empty grounds, empty stadiums for it, which they want to change, which they want to scale.
That's where they have to, like what I'm saying about the attendance. That's where I mean about everything that has happened in Chinese Super League. One of the things that also happened was that after some time the attendance just dropped. So when attendance drops, then then the money starts stops coming in. Then the investors pull out, and it's not like it cannot happen. I mean, Saudi has a really big fund, obviously. I mean, the top four clubs of the Saudi league are basically the pet project of Mohammed bin Salman, right?
Yes.
So they what he has a vision. He is trying to create something there, but it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be quick even, I think. But the direction probably is what they're going with is better than what Chinese Super League went with. It's a completely different thing, and it completely helps that they have invested into heavily into Premier League teams. So now they have a source basically, and not just I mean, it's an easy source, right? When you have connections, it's easier to get players down into the league.
Yeah.
So
I would add the major difference that you pointed out, Abhay, in CSL versus Saudi is that Chinese the president was ready to have the football inside, but so the businessmen take over the teams and they took it as a business opportunity. But in Saudi, it's all driven by their crown prince. The whole
exactly, yeah.
Saudi wave is driven by him and him alone, right? So it is from the top, from him, just to, and hence it makes more sense that there is a lot to do with sports washing thing rather than anything else. It is
And-
more inclined towards that.
Yeah.
And
Abhay, you were saying
also
something, yes.
Saudi being close to Europe also gets it very
Helps a little.
good for the
Mhm.
players. Like a lot
Yeah.
of European players can come and go. China, it's like it's so far. So that is also a point that you
Yeah.
can make. And
I think logistics is there. I
Mhm.
do understand what logistics is there, but I think more importantly, why I think Saudi will actually work out is because Saudi in itself is a football crazy nation, right?
Mhm.
Whereas in
Right, right.
China, they were trying to promote
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Saudi,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
need to do that.
True, true.
You already have a viewership, you already have a fan base that is rooting, and they're going to scream and celebrate through the roof when that happens,
Mhm.
right?
No, actually,
Yeah, yeah.
that may be one of the reason, but in my
And
opinion,
I would like to also say something else about it's also about optics. If you look at the things they're investing into, they're investing into things which are perceived as cool. It's a game of optics. Right now, boxing, MMA is considered cool. Golf is for the uber rich, it's cool.
Yeah.
And you have got football, and it's the most widely watched sport. So they are like, okay, this is cool. This will appeal to the people around, but more than that, it is going to appeal to the younger generation that is coming up in Saudi Arabia itself.
I would
If-
like you to ask one question here. When you say it will work, what do you mean by it will work?
Mhm.
I mean, what do you mean by that?
At this point of time, I think I'm probably comparing it to China, right?
Yeah, that is the
Yeah.
problem actually. It
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
I mean, we all know here, and we are going to share your opinion that
Mhm.
when you say it will work, it will definitely work in that sense. It will be a
Yeah.
success. It will be a success than CSL. Like we already mentioned, they're doing it. They've they've got a well thought out plan actually for this, and it's clear to see they have a vision. But in my sense, when you say it will work, and what Amit initially initiated the discussion with that, will it be a problem for the European leagues? And in my
Mhm.
opinion, it will not, because European leagues, all the top tier leagues, top 5 leagues, right? They're built on years and years of tire driven football. They're proper tire defined, you know, tires where different teams
yeah,
play.
first
They have
division,
their
second
own
division.
respective academies. They bring players through. There is a continued age old system that is there. So it will never replace
It'll reach
anything.
there, Rajesh. Uh, so guys, what do you feel ki Saudi, the top four clubs which are right now driving this shockwave is all driven by PIF, right? Which has 75% MBS's share,
Correct.
the share of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So doesn't that cause a conflict of interest amongst it, because the four good teams are all owned by the same person? So what is the motivating factor of fighting between those teams? What do you think? What is the difference here?
Abhay, you want to go? Anyone?
I mean, the primary reason that I can see is if I would want to make a product in terms of, and I would want to make it attractive, I would try to make all the teams competitive so that
Yeah.
more people are tuned in for most of the matches. That's what I would be looking at, right? So I would try to make four teams which are equally good and have an equal chance to win any game. This I'm talking only in terms of team structure. right? But from what I'm seeing, they're also targeting some of the managers which are out of jobs. But these managers are of high pedigree and had jobs in the big five leagues. So I think they're trying to move there. It will take time, but I can so clearly see why they would want to make the teams all at equal levels, all the four teams.
But do you think it makes for a good arrangement? I mean, four teams in a league owned by one guy,
See, it doesn't
indirectly or
really
How do
matter
you
directly.
if people
support a
don't
team,
know.
guys? How
I
do you
think
support a
that's
team?
the point.
Abhay,
It doesn't really matter if people
Abhay,
don't know.
uh,
Yeah, yeah,
how do you
yeah.
support a team on the behalf of a supporter of a team? So right now, what do you do? A national supporter, what does he do? He blames his owner that he's not putting money in it. Now there is a owner who puts money on the four clubs which are on top, 1 to 4. Right?
But you need to understand, at one point of time, AC Milan was owned by Berlusconi, right? And he was there in Italy. He was in power, right? What I'm saying is, eventually they can look at different paths, but at this point of time, they he has the financial muscle to make all four of them right, and then probably he can start bifurcating and selling it off or whatever he wants. But at this
Yeah.
point of time, I think it makes sense if it is owned by him. And I mean, if let's say, if taking an example, I'm taking my parallels from the IPL, right? Like, if I'm in Mumbai, so Mumbai Indians it is right now. I'm hoping that I get the best of the players, right? It doesn't matter if Mumbai Indians is owned by Ambani and he has another team he's owning. I'm just concerned about my team,
No, not
about
in the
my
same league.
team.
Abhay, not
See,
in the same league, right?
what I say, the differentiation here is that we are comparing it to, let's just say, English football, right? Which is has a completely different kind of fan base. Is very tribal. Everybody is very into their own clubs and all. They in Saudi, they don't have that kind of structure right now. All they care
Yeah.
about is that does their team play? Is it a good team? Will it be entertaining? All that stuff. And I think why MVS has taken into his own hand is that, see, how competitive and how good the product is a second thing. If the product exists itself or not, that's the primary concern at this particular point, and they want to establish it. And the more control he has, and the more he can oversee basically everything, that he can take care of the establishment of the system. Once that is done, maybe he can diversify, as Abhay said, right?
भाई
Maybe he
सिंपल
can
बात
sell
है,
it to somebody else.
सिंपल बात है, ये जो छाती पे जो क्रेस्ट लेके खेलता है ना प्लेयर लोग, how will you get that motivation कि भाई I am playing for this club, that
You probably
badge,
won't,
the crest
man.
that you wear? I mean,
No.
I mean,
Not right now, man.
There's such a situation.
That-
Do we have a Man City
Both
fan
of us
here right
just
now?
consider a situation that there is an owner who owns Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester City, right? All
Yeah.
clubs. And he's putting all the money only in Manchester City. That makes sense for you.
So the problem occurs when he does that,
Yeah.
right? When he does that,
Exactly.
but when he does that, that's obviously going to be a problem, and people are going to be in arms. People are going to be in arms that why aren't you getting me this player? But that's why I said, if he makes all the four teams competitive with really good players, right? At
I
that
guess
point of time,
I am unable
I
to
think is
digest
like-
this fact because we are all followers of the
Correct.
Exactly.
European
Okay,
football.
yeah.
It has
difficult because
it has never so
It
happened
actually
that
takes out some interest from transfer market
exactly,
and all out
man.
of it,
No,
and that
in the
emotion with
history
the
of
club. How will it become better?
Yeah,
Because
I
if
think-
somebody who is maintaining all four to be equal, then there is not much.
See, that's the thing, right? We're comparing it
No,
with football, like European football. It's not the same right now.
Also you need to understand that guy has a lot of things on his plate. He's going to appoint four really good people to do the job for him, right?
Yeah.
And
And
even
he's not going to do all of it on
even
his own.
in these four teams, two are based out from one city, two are based out from one city, is what I
No,
read.
I
Two are
think
from
right
Riyadh,
now-
two are from Jeddah.
I think
So-
right now he has 4 clubs in his hand. So now he has just started the league. I think this is the start point of the league in terms of superstar players and
Yeah.
high profile players. Now once the league goes on after 2 or 3 years, I think he might sell one or two clubs.
Correct.
Why not?
And
He can earn from that. Like, okay, he's setting up the business right now.
This
He's
might
setting
be
up
the
the
I'm
brand.
understanding people are looking at it from the
Because-
fans' perspective, right?
Yeah, once the league gets the boom, he can sell one or two clubs,
Correct.
and there will be people who will be
So,
ready to buy this kind of clubs because
let's,
it is generating so much money.
okay,
So he's making
guys.
a league.
How was
Let's
the
make it
Premier
fair.
League formed? In the Premier League era, whenever the Premier League was first since the inception of the Premier League, tell me, or much before that, has any two teams been owned by the same owner
But
ever?
Dude, but
but
that's
you
the
have to
thing,
understand,
right? It's different. That's the
No.
thing.
bro.
English,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Let me add.
Uh,
Let me add here. Just a
Hmm.
minute. So this might be an initial thing, which might change with time. Once he has established SPL's credentials in the world, once he has got some few teams, he might sell it off, as Manish said. But as adding to what you were saying, Rajesh, about playing for the crest and for a player, right? I would like to ask the question: what is a motivation for a player to go to Saudi currently? What is it? Just money? How will, because a good footballer is known by his passion, right? Not just by the money he's earning. So what brings them to Saudi now? Young
See,
players
I
who has
think
their
I have,
career ahead of them.
yeah, I think I have two things in mind. Okay. First thing is definitely money. A lot of people are going to go there for money. But the second thing, it's very difficult for me to digest that a player who is in his prime would want to go to Saudi club and play, and he would go there for the passion. So it seems like that the way that they have connections with Premier League teams at this point, there's an opportunity for them to maybe sign for a Saudi club but go on a loan in a different team and something like that. So maybe what players are thinking is that they can sign to that particular team, but they probably don't have to play for that team. So it doesn't really matter currently in that sense. They can probably get loaned out to the team that they want. So it can be that kind of arrangement. But if it's purely to a Saudi club, I don't see people going there for passion. I mean, it doesn't make any sense also.
Right. I would agree with him. Coming up on the loan part, I think they are Al Ahly is thinking about the same with Ruben
Yeah,
Neves. Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what they're thinking. But at this point of time, at this particular point of time, I do not see a player going to Saudi for anything other than money.
Yeah.
Right. At this point of time, is
Absolutely.
what I'm saying.
I'd
That is
agree.
true. But if players like Ronaldo is the brand ambassador of Saudi League these days. Players like Ronaldo, the current Ballon d'Or holder Benzema, they are all in Saudi right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Even Kante, maybe you can make a case for Ronaldo. He's in twilight of his career, but Benzema has just won his biggest title, right?
Yeah.
Right away. So does it not motivates other people, young people, to go to the league where all these legends, all these good players are playing now?
You
I,
took names of
I'm,
two players, right? Ronaldo and Benzema.
yeah.
Ronaldo, totally understandable, went for the money, twilight of his
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
brilliant move. I mean, no
Yeah.
one would even complain. But
Yeah.
Benzema move, I just completely fail to understand. I cannot find any reason apart from money. Any reason apart from
There's
money.
one more
He
reason.
would still
like-
play at Madrid. He would still be scoring 25, 30 goals in that Madrid team, still be winning titles. I mean, just did not make sense.
But you need to understand. Firstly, the players that you have mentioned, you need to look at their age profile. Also, you need to understand that where they made their names. They made their names out here in Europe, and
Yeah.
all these players, you could say they have almost completed football, right? And
Yeah.
now it's not much left in their careers. Okay, Benzema has just won the Ballon d'Or, but look at his age profile. How many years has he got? What happens
Yeah.
if he gets injured in a year? He does not get the money that he's going to get from Saudi. Nobody's taking an injured player out there,
Yeah.
right?
I
At this
think
point
they
of
have to
time,
give some time.
I cannot see anything other than the motivation of money at this point
Yeah,
of
yeah.
time.
Yeah. That I
It will
agree.
start. It will start with money, yeah. Because like now
Yeah.
we have just taken three names, but what about the squad of Chelsea? I mean, there are a lot of players who have
exactly.
been linked, and they are not
Mm.
like past their prime. They are into their prime. There's Mendy,
Even like
there's Koulibaly, there's
uh,
Ziyech, there's a whole lot of
No,
people who
just
are
to add,
linked to
Koulibaly,
Saudi.
Ziyech and Mendy all are done deals. We have got like
See,
for them.
now
Oh,
they are
wow.
done. They are
no,
not past their prime. They are into their prime.
no.
So I mean, like we have to wait. Like we have to wait this year and see if there are a lot of players coming into
Yeah.
that team, or if they are getting loaned out or
This,
something. Maybe next year there will be a boom. And yeah, primarily it is money. Yeah, I'm not denying that.
These three
What I'm
names you
saying is
took,
like,
right? I would like to ask you, these three names you took, right? Tell me who was willing to take them on with their salaries and giving them an opportunity to play as well, right? Chelsea were literally trying to push them out, firstly. Chelsea were trying to push them out?
ZH can
No,
ZH
No, man. See,
no,
this is
in
Chelsea's
this
fault,
moment,
I think, that they have put them on these kind of salaries. But those are really good players, man. If Chelsea is willing to maybe let's just say Chelsea was not owned by Bomi, I'm forgetting his name again.
Boli.
Boli, yeah. And he was if they were not owned by him, and they were probably owned by somebody else, for example. They would be either willing. They would not be on that kind of salaries, maybe, or maybe they would be they would let them go, maybe with the transfer value that they have, and there are teams that can actually buy them with that kind of transfer money. Those are good players. It's just that it just turns out that at this particular point, Chelsea has this arrangement. By the way, it's just a sports mail article that I've read, that Clear Lake has Clear Lake is one of the investors in Chelsea, and Clear Lake also has they manage their funds for PIF as well. So there's small link between there, and you can say that okay, it doesn't happen, but
Small link to us. Big link to them.
Big link to
All
them,
the money is
exactly.
getting funneled.
So they are finding a way to go around this, right? And I don't know how, as Manish said, right? This is the transfer window to look at, and we'll realize if they are going actually to a Saudi club, or maybe they're going to get loaned, like Abhay said, to like Neves, right? So I think
Yeah.
we're going to see what's going to happen.
So this brings me to the next one, that so there can be two things here. One is Chelsea has all these players on a very big wages, which no other European team. So right now, apart from PL, we have seen that all the other countries does not have good enough money, right? They can anyway not match the wages that are being given at PL. Maybe somebody like Real Madrid or PSG can do that, but not everyone, right? And they will not go for players like ZH and Mendy's. So the only place to ship them maybe is Saudi only, because they can offer those money. For them, even players like ZH and Mendy, Koulibaly are a very big
World class player.
Right, world class players. They are the flag holders of Saudi now. So, so that can be a reason why Chelsea is shipping them to Saudi. There is a good relationship between Clear Lake and PIF that is also well established. They have some investment. They have even done a joint ventures together.
Yeah.
So they have a good relationship. I'm not saying that this is a big. This is not a big theory.
It's well documented everywhere.
Yeah, but then if you look at in that way, then it's a masterstroke by Kohli. Like, he is shipping out his players who he doesn't need, and he's getting good money for that, and then he'll reinvest it. And then this might, like, you can say this is a masterstroke by Kohli. Others can say it's a scam. Now what
Exactly,
this is like, now it's inflating. Like, market is inflated now. Like, Chelsea can attract any player. Now let's say they want Mbappe. Let's say for example, they will ask him to come, or any other player. Like,
but Mbappe to United tha na bhai.
That was a joke.
So is this
No,
go ahead, Manish. Sorry.
Yeah, Chelsea can now buy, if let's say Chelsea and Arsenal are fighting for a player. Chelsea will get him on high wages, and then what they'll do is next, if he's not a hit, they'll ship him to Saudi. That's it.
What we're talking about right now is a relationship between Clear Lake and PIF, which is just 2% of investment that PIF might have. Now this, if you talk about teams like Newcastle, which are owned by PIF itself, does it come to be like these teams can have a workaround from FFP? Just because
money laundering,
Saudi being in place, they can get Deadwood on a high price to just balance their books.
I have one interesting question actually, based on what Amit said. Amit said, and whatever we discussed earlier, is that we were talking about these 4 teams owned by the PIF indirectly or directly, whatever, right? So my question is that if the Saudis or the people in the Middle East have so much money, right? Oil rich business and all that, why can't other sheikhs and all be involved and own these clubs? It will be a brilliant league actually. They would have finally cracked the code, right? I mean, why not?
but you need to understand that Qataris and Saudis do not go well along with each other, right? And
Yeah.
they
Battle
have
of
they have the ego issues as well, right? They have the
yeah,
ego issues as well.
obvious actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Qatar have
so
hosted a World Cup. Saudi haven't yet.
yeah, it's there. It's there. It's there.
Manish, do you feel Qatari?
I feel Qatari, yo.
Yo.
Right, but
we're going to have a wonderful discussion if actually United gets taken over. I'm going to have fun on that day.
So is it a workaround of through FFP for teams like
of
Newcastle
course,
and,
of course,
Of course.
of course.
Abe,
Tell
remember
me,
You know,
Morata?
I feel
tell me,
like Chelsea is kind of a template. This year what is happening with Chelsea, it is serving like a template right now. And
like,
what Amit what he started with, right? That no other European team would be buying them. And see, Chelsea won't be able to sell them in these kind of prices if Saudi was not there, right? You take Saudi out of the picture, they'll have to actually do something else. I don't know, whatever, but not this. They are getting away very easily. I mean, I don't want to bring City into the conversation because that's a whole ball game, a different ball game. But this is not new, obviously. They did it in a probably okay. Let's not get them.
More
It's a
hush hush
complete-
manner.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But Derek, it is an open template, and I think somebody mentioned Newcastle. Like probably Abhay mentioned Newcastle, and maybe in this transfer window, maybe in next transfer window, we'll see something similar happening in Newcastle. And if you're thinking that Newcastle is not coming fast enough, you will see in next 2 seasons Newcastle will be a force.
I would just like to say there are two teams in question right now in the EPL at least. One is Chelsea. You look at Chelsea, you're like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to splash all the cash that is there, as much it is possible, spread it through the years. And if a player does not work, what do? I just sell him off to Saudi. My books are balanced. I buy again and again.
Exactly.
It's like a cheat code. And now
Yeah.
I look at Newcastle, and I'm thinking, you know what? I like this player. I like this player really well, but I do not have the finances. What do I do? Oh, wait, a Saudi club can buy it for me and then loan it to me. So essentially, the player is playing for a EPL club, let's say Newcastle, but they're not paying for him. They're just paying his wages, or that can also be subsided. It's obviously a hack. And how do you need to have proper guidelines or something to stop it, or else people are just going to abuse it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PL is
It's
going
money
to have a
laundering.
really, really hard time
It's
this
money
year
laundering.
actually to just design the rules. Yeah, Manisha.
Yeah, I think it's money laundering. Remember, there was a player, Morata. The amount of transfers he went
Yeah,
to,
man.
the amount of clubs he shifted from here
Perfect.
to there.
That
Yeah,
should be a
yeah,
Harvard
that's
University
perfect.
use case.
He was just a money laundering thing for all the other clubs.
Yeah.
Like they kept buying him, selling him for like same prices or inflated prices. Same thing is going to happen with this money laundering.
That is at
Buy
a,
player,
in my
loan him.
opinion, that is at a much lower level than what is going to happen right now,
Yeah,
what we are
yeah.
seeing right
Yeah,
now.
this
But,
time shit just got real.
Just don't consider these two teams. Let's consider this problem completely. Right now, all of our teams have in some time faced difficulties to ship few players because they are on very high wages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now this becomes a system for all the teams, all the clubs to kind of offload few people like these, right, to Saudi, right? Because we have seen that, right? We are also Spurs is also struggling with a lot of players right now which they cannot ship.
I mean, Arsenal also struggled. We wanted to get off Aubameyang and Lacazette, and they were on high wages. Nobody was taking them. I bet
Yeah.
United have a few players on high wages, and they're trying it out. But what it's essentially doing is it's giving the clubs with already financial power a way out so that they can make more mistakes in the transfer market.
Exactly.
It's like a cycle, and then it's just how do the small clubs come up? Even if they're taking the right transfers, they're doing everything right. If the big clubs have this opportunity to keep on making mistakes in the market, then eventually the right thing is going to strike, and the low clubs can't come up, man. That's the way I see it.
You're talking about lower
Very
clubs,
good
I
point.
feel like half of the clubs in top 10, even current top 10, will not be able to compete. I feel like ownership of every club that we support probably will have to change to cope up with this whole system, right? Currently, I don't think any of our clubs will have that kind of financial power that probably the likes of Newcastle or City probably have. And with this kind of things happening, maybe like all the top six, all top 7 clubs would be owned by these people only. I don't know.
Look,
And I don't see
Yeah,
any other
Abhay,
way.
And
I
Abhay,
would
that's
like
why
to
I feel Qatari. That's why
I would like to
feel
add
Qatari.
here, Abhay. So basically, let's say this cycle keeps on continuing. Do you
Hmm.
this is a kind of start for that Super League concept that was coming around for 1 or 2 years back? Because now Saudi cannot compete in Champions League; they're not a part of Europe or something. Maybe they can drive the Super League concept because now they have good players, which might want to compete with other teams, the good teams
Hmm.
across the globe, right? So
Interesting,
they might
interesting.
have sold this concept to all these players which are coming to Saudi, that it's not all about money. Your passion will also be fulfilled,
Hmm.
because this is what the future might look like. Because now, if all the good players are going to Saudi,
So
you
the
understand
American
Super League
investment,
can
which
start from
That
there.
is that's
so the
interesting.
American
Yeah.
investment which was supposed to come, right, which was driving the Super League, JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, I'm forgetting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yes,
Whoever,
them.
yeah, they are
Both.
going to put in a lot of money. Then Papa Perez was also heavily involved. He was the
Yeah.
driving guy, because Real Madrid is the biggest club in the world, and
It's
if
just on the
the
addition
president
of
of that club
This is just addition of
drives
what
it.
I said, that smaller teams will not be able to come up. Now,
Hmm.
lower teams are not competitive enough. Then there is only one place left, right, to compete. It's the Super League.
Look, I just have faith that you know the the beautiful game, the essence of football will always be preserved, irrespective of
Hmm.
all this money. Because, like Abhay Maheshwari said, that when you keep spending money and you can ill afford the mistakes that you do every transfer window because of the amount of money that you have. But what happens is there is always chaos as well, because what fans want to see is not failures. Fans want to see that teams qualifying for the Champions League, playing in the top tier of football, competing against the best teams. So failures causes a trickle down effect to management, including the coach, including the scouts and everything, right? No matter how many mistakes that you. So basically what I'm referring to is the city model. City can also do the mistakes, but there is always method to that madness.
No,
I
no.
I just recently
But
I
saw
will, by the way,
Khaldoon
I feel
speak.
like I'm
No,
never going to agree
I,
with you on this thing. For
I
sure.
just have one
With regards to
question.
City.
I just have one question. It's
Yeah.
like when I talk about the cycle, it's like you're in a game called have you this is a throwback to the old games called Contra, and it's about having 100 lives or infinite lives. You're obviously going to win the game sometime,
Correct.
and you're going to keep
Yes.
winning it then. It's
Exactly.
like that. My issue with the entire thing is it's like you have infinite lives and
My
you can
point is not
keep
about
winning.
the infinite lives away. You're getting me entirely wrong. My point is that you may win once eventually, and I agree to your point. But what about sustainability? And
But what
that's
is
why
a
I refer to
failure
the city
according to
Okay,
you,
model.
Rajesh, what is a failure according to you for these teams?
exactly. What
What
is
is
a
a
Failure
failure?
failure?
Yeah.
according to me, failure according to me is not to be consistently challenging for the title, not to be
But
consistently
here,
competing for the top four.
okay, hear me out.
Arsenal, Man United. Do you
Yeah.
consider these teams
Correct.
competing for
Okay.
But right now, for
I
example,
would
I
like
will
to.
show,
I
let's say
would like.
Brighton. Brighton has a concept of they will sell off their good players, right? Now, let's say Caicedo is asking for 100 million, right? Right now, nobody will pay that money because they're not sure if it will be the best bet for them. But now you have a safety net of Saudi beyond you. You can buy everything from Brighton's, West Ham's of the world and make a
Hmm.
super team yourself. If it does not work, you just ship it out Saudi. But these teams will not be able to come up now because you're buying everything from them without.
Hey man, to be very honest with you, Amit, it's not as easy as speaking like you ship it off to Saudi. Look at the players that are going to Saudi.
No, no,
Do you
no.
No,
expect
no, no,
Declan
dude. Like
Rice?
that's a
After
Hold
a
on, hold on,
certain
hold on.
fantastic
amount of
point.
time, it will happen, Rajesh.
Okay.
It will happen
I
after they are 28, 29,
No,
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 and
no.
they
I
will
have
be
a.
shipped.
No.
Off.
2 to 3 years,
City
they will
model.
have
Just
good
think
enough
what City
players of
does, man.
competitive
Don't
speed.
look anywhere else. Just look what
I,
City does.
I also want to add that we are just looking at the Premier League. Look at the
Hmm.
League One, bro.
Basically, we have sorted out that the players are going for money to Saudi, but Saudi will also be selling some passion to them, right? So, do you believe that what they are promised right now is if they are getting good players to Saudi to make a really good league, and to compete across Europe or across the whole world, they will. Saudi has all the resources. So can Saudi drive a Super League? That concept which has come like couple of years back. Do you believe that that Saudi can now drive drive this whole Super League and maybe succeed this time?
I'll just say this thing. So to drive this Super League, they'll need really good teams, and maybe they are just started right now. But it is in the current level where the Saudi league is. I feel like it's very difficult to sell that dream. Maybe they are thinking it somewhere, but currently, to the players selling that dream probably is too far fetched. That's what I think.
There's a goal for them in next 5 years or so. They want to enter the top 10 of football, top 10 leagues of football.
But today, whoever they are signing, right? I don't think they can sell a 5 year later goal. They'll have to sell a goal very close to.
Also, I would like to add, I have a dream in 5 years to date Jessica Alba. That doesn't mean that it's going to come into fruition. What I'm saying is,
if you have Saudi money, you might.
No,
Yeah,
You might did.
you actually, yeah, you never know. Never know. But I would like to say that decades away, because you have to improve from the grassroots, from the base level in terms
Grassroots
of
football.
grassroots football as well, right?
Yeah.
And that takes time.
Mm.
As in, I think to me at least, they're a few decades away, not even 5 years, 10 years. I think they're
100% agreed.
are around two to three, at least 2 decades away. And at this point of time, if you're a player and if you want to make your name, you're thinking about the Champions League, you're thinking about the World Cup, right?
Exactly.
Firstly, you need to make the trophy that attractive.
Yeah.
You need to make the trophy that attractive. And it's also about the fact that inherently kids in Europe are born to play, not born to play football, but most of them try to play football because it's a cultural thing. If it becomes a cultural thing in Saudi Arabia, right? If it becomes a cultural thing in Saudi Arabia, then also you need to realize that they do not have the amount of academies that these places have, and the way football is promoted here in Europe. That's what I'm saying.
No, it
When
has to
that
be
happens-
sea change. It has to be a sea change actually.
Exactly.
I think
Establishing, you need to
the
start.
homegrown talent is very important for a league to become
Successful. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
right
People
now,
at the end of the day,
I
this
saw the comparison from with J League to Saudi. They have Saudi kind of beats J League on the foreign players that they have. If you rate top 50 foreign players to them, the Saudi League is ranked right now on 20th or so. While the Japan League is more on 40s and 40s. But the homegrown talent, if you say, the Saudis way behind. They are almost a 75th rank right now. So it is a big gap that they have to.
I'll tell you a big step. I'll just have a different take on this. Not a different take. An addition to what you just said is that how to promote football in Saudi Arabia or anywhere in the Middle East is that when you have players from Saudi Arabia or Qatar or anywhere in the Middle East coming up and playing in the biggest leagues and people watching them play at the highest level, that is when you promote football as well. So I'll tell you an example, like the likes of Mahrez and all, right? They come from the African leagues. So, you scout them, you bring them to these leagues, they do well. So you receive a lot of traction. And that is how they become ambassadors of their own country, playing football in the elite leagues. So that is also one way how football is promoted.
But that would be the ideal world scenario. But with the Saudi and all the stuff, can they bend it in a way that the Super League thing, they can get it done just to make the football great in their country itself?
Don't see it happening, honestly.
Huh?
Don't see it happening, honestly.
I don't see it happening
I don't see it happening either, because you got to understand the people who are at the perch, at the top of football, at the perch of football, even they wouldn't allow it. They are going to cause problems. In case if it happens, it's going to take a lot of time. And I think say a lot of time, I mean in decades. That's it.
So, guys, final closing statements. Just one or two lines. Just tell if you think this whole Saudi thing will sustain, or is this just a glitch or a few years thing?
Okay, I'll start. I think it will sustain enough to be doing probably similar to what MLS is doing at this point, but I don't see it as a threat to European football anytime soon.
Okay. I share the same opinion as well, Zabay. I don't think players are going to be amazed at the opportunity that they are going to uh, get in Saudi, because at the end of the day, when professional players start to play football, they think of winning certain titles and championships in Europe. Yeah.
I think I second Abhay Jogekar as well. I think that he gave the right example of MLS. I think Saudi might go a little further than MLS, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it is at.
I think European football will still remain the kings. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even I believe that European football is not challenged right now, and even I believe that this whole wave of the Saudi bit is just temporary. It might not attract good talent in some years. So
It is a commercial way, so it will go on for 2-3 years. Commercially, it will do good
will not
PR.
sustain
It will
at
not
that big
sustain.
level. Whatever they have in plans, it might not be
Might
full.
not come to
Yeah,
fruition.
probably one point I would like to get in just at last is that since there are still teams that the same owners that are in the Saudi league, they are in the PL, so we might see some sort of money flow in that way. But from the popularity point of view, I think we are in the same. So yeah.
So guys, this was all that we have.
Yeah.
Please put your comments, your valuable feedbacks, what you feel about this whole Saudi scenario and how it affects the European football. And if you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. Cheers.
Cheers,
Right.
everyone. Yeah.
Yes.